Hey guys, this is Paradox. I want to do a Duelyst review, I guess you could say. I've been playing the game for a little bit. I don't really do review videos, so if my format is not good enough, then who cares, because I'm not going to be doing very many more of these. If it's awesome, then I'll probably get sued from the Fine Brothers and getting it taken down because it's not the correct format. Very few people will get that. Well, I don't know. Depends on when people actually see this video. But I just really wanted to do a review. A lot of people are wondering if they should actually play this game or not. And I really just want to break it down into three things: the business model, the graphics, and the gameplay. I figure most people watch the reviews for games and they want to know if it's worth buying. Now, free-to-play games, people just want to know if it's worth downloading and putting their time into. Time is just about as valuable as money for most people. So whether you're throwing $60 into the new Tomb Raider, you want to know if that new Tomb Raider is worth $60. Well, in this game, you want to know if it's even, at what point, a lot of times in these free-to-play games, you have to play a certain amount before you even start enjoying the game. And then you need to wonder, are you ever going to actually enjoy the game? Or are you just going to burn 100 hours into the game and never enjoy the game? Or at least that's for me. A lot of times I don't like playing new games, new free-to-play games anyways, because it takes too long to get into them, especially like Hearthstone. I loved Hearthstone when it came out well, actually, before it even came out, I was playing it in beta, and I loved it. I was like, oh, this is a lot of fun. But as the game started going, I started seeing my friends hop in, and they were like, this game's terrible, and they would leave because they would just get stomped before they could even understand how to play the game. So, is it worth your time? Is it worth your money? Let's go into that. First, the business model. It's very similar to Hearthstone. If you've played Hearthstone, you can buy, these are called Spirit Orbs, they're packs. They're the same as Hearthstone packs. They contain 5 cards, at least one rare, better card, sounding a lot really familiar. 100 gold per pack, and these ones are, I don't know, a little more than $1 a piece. Exactly the same as Hearthstone, or at least very close. 40 packs for $50. Sounds really familiar. There is an arena mode, which costs 150 gold. So you can tell, I mean, it's sounding a lot like Hearthstone. What is the difference, though? Now, in Hearthstone, the business model is, I mean, it's harsh for new players, but for old players, you can kind of keep up. If you play every day, you can keep up. If you play every other day, you can still probably keep up. Even once every 3 days, you're fine. If you take a 2-week break, you're probably going to fall behind. Take a few month break, you're definitely going to fall behind. Even if you can do infinite arenas, you've got to be really good. In this game, you're a little bit safer. In Hearthstone, it's 3 wins to get 10 gold, and in this game, it's 2 wins to get 15 gold. So if you play if you win 6 games in both Hearthstone and this game, in Hearthstone you'll end up with 20 gold, and in this game you'll end up with 45. So it's actually almost about 2.5 times the amount of gold that you'll get in this game compared to Hearthstone. I don't know if this is an alpha thing or if this is going to stay in the game, but if this stays in the game, I'm going to really like this game more than Hearthstone. I'm going to compare the two a lot, and again, just by looking at the business model, you can tell why I'm comparing the two. The quests. Right now, you get 2 dailies a day. I don't know if, again, I don't know if any of this stuff is a alpha only thing or if it's going to stay in the game, but those 2 dailies a day really start adding up. I mean, you can get a lot more gold per day in less amount of time in this game than in Hearthstone. And in Hearthstone, I feel like half the time I was logging on just doing dailies with decks I didn't even enjoy playing, hoping to win so I didn't have to play 5 hours on a deck I hated. This game, you can lose on your dailies, and you can still complete the dailies, meaning you only have to play 4 games with that deck, no matter if you win or lose, and you're done with that daily. So you can get on playing a deck that you actually enjoy. Overall, with the business model of this game, I would say if Hearthstone is a 5 out of 10, this game's definitely like an 8 or 9 out of 10, if it stays the way that it is. If it gets even half as slow to get gold in this game as it is right now, I would say it's still better than Hearthstone. but I'd really have to see, because I've gotten a ton of free packs so far, but I don't know how well that's going to steamroll on. Anyways, I want to move on to the graphics. The graphics of this game, you hear two things back and forth. Either people love them or people hate them. Personally, right now, if you look at this game looks beautiful. It really does. If you see, like, just this, I mean, this whole map, this whole thing, this dragon back here, this whole thing looks glorious. And then you get in game, and in game is where people are complaining. So let's just hop in a game really quick, and I'm going to show you what everyone's talking about. This is what everyone's talking about. This, again, around here, around this edge, this is just awesome. The colors in this are great. And then you have these pixels which you can barely even tell what these things are. Now you get used to this later on. You understand, like, you start remembering what everything looks like. It's whatever, it's cool. It's something you get used to, and some people really enjoy it. But personally, this stuff is hard to tell what it's like. Okay, so he's got a robe, but is that two heads right there? Or is that a cut in his robe that it shows one of his shoulders? I mean, is that a staff, or is that an axe, or is that a bag that's hooked to his staff? Is he a hobo? I mean, I honestly can't tell. Then you go to, like, the general, and you're like, oh, this guy looks really cool, but I mean, is he floating? Is he walking? I mean, there's just all these little things that it could be one thing, it could be another, and I don't know why they just didn't keep these graphics from everywhere else. Like, this around this map looks just awesome. I mean, seriously, the colors on this, and I mean, I'm also on an IPS screen. It's gonna be a little bit different from what I'm seeing it than from other people seeing it, and I'm not bragging or anything. I'm just saying, a little bit brighter, more vivid colors. But this is just stunning. But then you see this, and you're just so confused. So, where does this game stand? I don't know. This is really, it's really back and forth. You can see people who absolutely love the pixel art. They're like, oh, it's innovative. It's not what people are doing these days. It's cool. It stands apart from other games. And you see other people that are like, I can't even tell what I'm playing. Either way, for the graphics, all I can tell you is by the time I was done with the challenges, I was already used to them and I didn't even care anymore. So if you're the type of person that cares a lot about graphics, this might not be the game for you. But if you're just someone who enjoys good gameplay, this might be the game for you. Which is the next thing that we're going to talk about, is the gameplay. Now, the gameplay in this game is based off of it's cards like Hearthstone, but at the same time creatures like turn or tactical-based strategy game. If you've played like Final Fantasy Tactics, Fire Emblem, Disgaea, games like that, it plays kind of like that, except for your creatures don't like cast spells. They don't do anything like that. They just attack. So I guess it's most similar to Fire Emblem. Mix Hearthstone with Fire Emblem, and this is very similar to this game. You play out your creatures, they do something, and your job is to try to take out the enemy. For this particular map, this is a challenge map, so we have to win in one turn. So you're going to do this, opening gambit, it's like battle cry, dispel, which is like silence. Again, guys, if you don't think this is like Hearthstone in any way, you're probably missing out, because it definitely has some similarities to Hearthstone. Opening gambit, deal 1 damage. This is an elven archer. Kill that, send our guy forward, kill, and we just won. So this game is interesting because there's just so many different there's different tactics to the game that a lot of people don't really think about. It makes the gameplay of this like Hearthstone and chess put together. I mean, there's just I could make a million comparisons, and it's just nothing until you actually play the game. I'm going to go back in here and show you another thing. One of my favorite things about this game is creep. I mean, one of the races all the races play quite a bit different from each other. Like in Hearthstone, you can play like Face Hunter, Face Shaman, and they essentially play about the same with a couple key differences, different class cards, of course, but essentially you're just ignoring the enemies and going to face. And yes, there are face decks in this game, but the classes just play so different from each other. One of the tactics of this enemy class is this shadow creep, and it does 8 damage at the start of your turn. It does 1 damage based off of every creep that you have on the board. So the whole game you're trying to place this creep in places where you think that the enemies might go, and at the same time you're trying to build up the creep so it does more and more damage. Now, you can silence off the areas with creep, and then the creep's removed. So you can still counter that, but it's all about, oh, is it better to silence the enemy or is it better to try to silence the creep? Either way, it's really cool how everything plays out. The gameplay of this game is phenomenal. If I was to rate the gameplay, again, if Hearthstone's like a 6, I would probably put this game maybe at a 6 or a 7. The reason it doesn't go all the way up, there's still a lot of flaws. It could be because it's an alpha that I feel that way, but it really depends. Some people will say it's a 10. Some people will be like, this is like a 3. I don't know what you're talking about, Paradox. It's all opinion based. I really enjoy it, but I also really enjoyed Hearthstone, and I really enjoyed Magic the Gathering. The main thing that I didn't like about Hearthstone was the amount of RNG. My favorite class was Shaman, or Shaman, whatever you want to call it. But it's like every single time I played the game, I was just anxious of how everything was going to turn out. And it wasn't based off of skill. Like, yes, I get it. If you're better than the other player, you're going to still win more on average. But there were so many times where things would just be frustrating that it wouldn't go your way. And the problem with RNG is if it goes your way, you're just like, okay, cool. But if it doesn't go your way, you're really disappointed. And you really feel like hurt. If you're just playing a game like Magic the Gathering, okay, you draw your cards, yes, drawing is RNG, but if you're going to draw 60% of your deck, and you have multiple copies of every card, essentially, you can get your deck to do what it needs to do about every game. In Hearthstone, if I was to play my Shaman deck and like, okay, I draw my cards, that's RNG, sure, whatever. You can mulligan to minimize the RNG, and you can play a couple cards, but then when you play a totem, every time it's a 1 out of 4. Let's say the taunt totem is you saving yourself from dying, and then the other 3 totems you die. There's a 25% chance that you're just going to piss off the opponent, and you're going to save yourself. You may not win because of it, but you'll just piss off someone. And I feel like that's the problem with RNG is either way it pisses off someone. If the game just plays out how it's supposed to play out, oftentimes, like when I play Magic, I'm usually not that upset when I lose because I either learn something, I can think of a way to improve my deck so that doesn't happen again. But in Hearthstone, a lot of times when I lose, it is RNG. I mean, I'm a Legend player, so I know that like skill will get you where you need to go eventually. But there's a lot of times where I don't know. Like in Magic, if I lose 3 times in a row, I could go, okay, here's what I lost to, here's what I need to replace in my deck, that's good. But in Hearthstone, I can't go, here's what I lost to, here's what I need to replace, because 3 times could just be bad luck. It could just be, okay, my Crackle rolled low 3 times in a row, I should just replace that for a Lightning Bolt, which is objectively better. But it could have just been the fact that my Crackle rolled low every time. Well, in this game, it's the reason that I put the gameplay higher than Hearthstone is there's just a lot less RNG. I mean, we could scroll through this whole thing, and how many times do you see a random thing? It's like for real, we're just going through this. Now, I know there's a couple randoms in here. Okay, here you go. Deal 2 damage to exactly 2 random enemy minions. It's Cleave, and then draw a card at the end of the turn. It's a better version of Cleave. But I just went through two races already, and I only found 1 RNG card. Now I'm going through again, and another thing that in this game why RNG is minimized is you can mulligan 1 card per turn. Let's say you mulligan 3 5 casts in Hearthstone, and you get a Ysera who's a 12 cast. That's a dead, or sorry, not a 12 cast, it's a 9 cast. That's a dead card until turn 9. Well, in this game, you can re-mulligan that card at the start of your next turn. And then the next turn, let's say you get a 6 cast, and you're not quite at 6 casts yet, you can mulligan that. So every turn you can mulligan. This allows it a really skill-based game because you're not just stuck into the same problem. You don't get a bad hand and mulligan into another bad hand. If you get that, you can continue mulliganing over and over and over and over. Yes, you can still get really, really unlucky, but at the same time, you can still have it work out really, really well. So this game really minimizes the RNG, and again, still, I'm 3 classes in, there's only 1 RNG card so far. This one, yes. Summons a 1/1 in a random nearby space. Now, the thing about this, though, is it's not even that bad of RNG. This, oftentimes, if this goes absolutely horrible for you, it's not going to really change too much of the game. You still have a minion on the board. You still have a minion. It just depends if you're going to be able to attack with it this turn or attack with it next turn. So this RNG is barely even RNG. It's like a knife juggler that's throwing a knife at either a 4/6 or a 4/5. Like, it's not really going to make much of a difference either way. But the problem with the knife juggler is it can be game ending every time that you drop something. This very rarely is going to be game ending. And it's the same with like Ragnaros. Ragnaros has such a huge impact of what it's going to hit, and the whole game rides on a 50-50, a coin flip. There's not very many of those in this game. But it's not just that. If you're playing a shaman, okay, you've got your a 1 in 4 of your shaman totem. Now that's kind of the same thing. The shaman totems early game, it's not going to make much of a difference. Like, taunt totems are usually the ones that you need, maybe a spell totem at the time. It's not going to be that bad if you get a bad roll. So it's the same way, but then it starts adding up. You've got the totems, you've got crackles, you've got lightning storms, you've got the fire guard elemental, or the fire guard destroyer, or whatever he's called. I mean, I could go, like, every turn you've got RNG that's just coin flips that every time it could just piss you off. This game, nothing really is pissing me off. Like, if I lose, I'm like, oh, I just need to change my tactic. In Hearthstone, every time I lose, yes, if I lose 30 times in a row, I know for sure I need to change my tactic. But if I lose 3 times in a row, it could have just been bad luck. I might go win 6 games in a row after that. And that's the thing about Hearthstone, is I know eventually, if I'm using a good deck, I will get to Legend. But it's hard to tell what's holding you back. Is it just RNG? Or do you need to change your deck? In this game, it's very easy to tell. If a card's not giving you value, it's not the RNG that's not giving you value. It's just, you can tell right away it's the card. So anyways, there's an RNG right here. Here's an RNG. So there's 2. Okay, so 4 classes. There is 3 things with RNG, right? Maybe 4. 3 to 4 things with RNG. You go in here. I mean, just nothing, guys. Like, if RNG is the thing that you don't like about Hearthstone, try this game out. Like, it's legit, like, very little RNG in it. And guys, I say RNG like a bajillion times. I don't like RNG, and if you don't know what RNG is, it's called a random number generator, and it's whenever the game comes up with a random mechanic. It's how it decides what happens to that random mechanic. Let's say there is a knife juggler on the board and there's 3 enemies. The computer then rolls 1 out of 3. If it's 1, it hits one of the enemies. If it's 2, it hits a different enemy, and if it's 3, it hits the enemy in the face. So that's what RNG is. It doesn't necessarily mean bad. A lot of people say it's RNG is bad luck. It's not. RNG is just luck in general. But the problem is I understand why Hearthstone has all the luck that they have, all the RNG that they have, all the randomness that they have, and it's because they said it makes the game more fun. It makes it to where you have to adapt to the situation. Well, this game you already have to adapt to the situation. If someone starts playing aggressively, you need to start playing a little bit different. You need to decide if you need to go aggressively or defensively. There are a million ways you can adapt in this battle and change it around, and I think that's why they they work a little bit less on RNG is because the games are already so complex. While Hearthstone kind of needs that RNG, or else everything's going to be about the same. Now, overall, we're still in this game as in a nutshell. Should you play this game? Should it be something that you put your time into, put your money into? Where it stands, money is whatever. I like to really earn all the cards without paying any money, because when I pay money in Magic, it's fine because I buy a deck of cards online. I know if I went to go sell them the same day, I'd make my money back. But normally you play it for a little while, you go a little bit. I mean, that's kind of how I play Magic. Is I buy a deck of cards, and then I play for like one set, and as the next set's coming out, I sell all my cards, usually get about the same amount of value for them. Sometimes I lose about 10-15% for eBay fees, or however, depending on how I'm selling it. And then I buy my next deck and continue on. Oftentimes I'm winning packs, so I get extra cards, I sell those cards, and I make my money back. In Hearthstone, I don't like spending money, because if I spend $5 and get a bad pack, like 5 bad packs or 4 bad packs, whatever, I feel like that $5 is just wasted. If I go on like Warframe or another free-to-play game and I pay $5 for a Warframe, that's my Warframe forever. Like, it's not like I buy a pack that might give me a Warframe. No, you just buy a Warframe, it's yours. Simple as that. No wasted money, it's your Warframe. So, and it's the same in a lot of these other games, in League of Legends, and Heroes of the Storm, and Dota. Well, Dota's different, but you get all the heroes for free. But in League of Legends, you buy a hero, it's your hero, no money wasted. So I don't like paying money to get packs in these games, but if they start releasing like cosmetics, like in Hearthstone, I bought the Warrior and the Mage, different alternate heroes or whatever. In Warframe, I've bought different colors. League of Legends, I have like a boatload of skins. Heroes of the Storm, I have a boatload of skins. So if they bring out skins in this game, sure, why not? I'll buy a bunch. That's perfectly fine. And what they're going to do is they're going to do alternate heroes, which I am going to buy right away when they bring an Abyssian one, because I really don't like the look of this person. But that's the thing, guys. Should you spend your money on this game? I don't know. Probably not right now. Should you spend your time on this game? That's up to you. And the great part about this game, if I have to overall sum it up into a nutshell, this is the overall. Download this game, go in here, do the challenges. If you enjoy the challenges, you're going to enjoy the game. If you enjoy the challenges a little bit, but you didn't really just like the gameplay, you just had fun because they were all puzzles, then I mean, just be done with the game. The puzzles are still fun enough. It was worth the time to download, and it didn't cost you any money. And then the last thing really is just play it. I've got a new player guide. I've got if you just want to kind of see what some of these puzzles are about, go click on some of my other videos. I have the Duelyst challenge guides. I would start out with some of the early ones, though, because I don't want to spoil any of the later ones. If you like the early ones, download the game, play them. The later ones are a little challenging, and sometimes you don't want to spoil them. If you get stuck on one, you can go watch my video. But if not, just play the challenges. If I had to sum up this whole game in a nutshell, I would say it's probably an 8 out of 10. I don't personally like the graphics, and I know I'm probably going to get downvotes or whatever for this. And again, graphics is kind of weird to say. I love these decals. I love this background. I love all that. This is amazing. But the pixel art, I don't know why they decided to go with that. I mean, the cool part is it does kind of pop in comparison to the other things, and you get used to it, so it's not that big of a deal. But yeah, overall, I'd say the whole game's probably an 8 out of 10. It's worth a download if you just like the puzzles. If I stopped playing this game right now, I would be perfectly fine with it because I enjoyed playing those puzzles. If I continue playing the game, I'd be perfectly fine with that because I actually enjoy the game. Again, unlike some games where you have to go in and you have to play for a blank amount of hours before you start enjoying the game, I'm enjoying the game now. I enjoyed the puzzles. I built one deck that, and it's not even that good right now. I just named it purple, but the deck's based off of getting that creep down on the ground, but it's also based off of these little like mini guys, or these like summoning these like mini things and letting them die. There's a whole deck based off of the mini enemies, or the mini creeps, or whatever you want to call them. I forget what they're called. Or Wraith, I think. So you summon these like 1/1s all over the place. There's a whole deck based off of it. I kind of do like a half and half, because the creep part of this deck is very slow. You can see the best card for the creep is a 7 cast. So it's very slow. So I like to trick people into thinking that I'm playing a very fast deck by summoning all these Wraithlings. And so then they try to play really like aggressive to fight off the Wraithlings, or they try to play defensive to try to like hold off all of them. And when they play defensive and all that, then I have time to start doing the Shadow Novas, getting a ton of creep out on the map, and controlling the entire board. But I'm having a blast with it. I really am. And then like Vitruvian, I've been thinking about making a Vitruvian deck with all these little totem things where you summon these dervishes, which have, they're these 2/2s with rush. There's these obelisks. I have 3 of those, and then you get these other obelisks that increase the dervish health. There's other obelisks that increase the dervish attack. So you just like cover the whole board with these obelisks and start attacking away. So guys, I'm having a blast already. This game's a lot of fun. And you don't even need to play that. Again, I've been playing for like a week, and I only play like an hour a day. So that's really saying something. 7 hours into the game, doing the challenges, having a ton of fun, playing ranked, having a ton of fun. I honestly recommend doing the same things. This is coming from a player who's played a lot of Magic the Gathering, a lot of Hearthstone, and a lot of other free-to-play games. Either way, if you guys have any questions about Duelyst, I'll still be playing the game. You can ask in the comments below. I'll answer. If not, someone else is banned to answer. These YouTube commenters kind of go crazy. Either way, I just want to say thanks for watching. And if you do start playing the game, you get stuck on a challenge, go check out my other videos.